Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Happy Bringling. My name is Anshav Jain, and I'm founder and managing director of Bringle Excellence UK and India. Today, I am welcoming all of you to another Bringle Talks with Dr. Saurabh Katiyar. Dr. Saurabh Katiyar is doctorate in artificial intelligence from State University of California and another completed PhD in biotechnology engineering. He has a master's in information science and management fellowship with industry papers in Web 2.0 back in year 2000. He's a technology research, development, and innovation expert by profession and industry thought leader on emerging technologies. With background of over 27 plus years of experience, Dr. Saurabh is currently serving as Deputy Director of Research and Development with True Corporation and R&D and Innovation at Group CTO office with one of the world's largest conglomerate and is based out of Bangkok, Thailand since more than a decade. And I must say, he's still a true Indian. And whenever I speak to him, I get that feeling of Indian, as a true Indian follower or, supporting anything and possible for India. So thank you so much, Dr. Saurabh, for coming on Bringle Talks and sharing your views. Would love to know more about your experience and what is that you are currently working upon, even sitting at Bangkok, but your heart lies in India. And I know that.
Thank you, Anshu. In fact, it was really a great pleasure to be here, and also very pleasure to know you and your initiative, and the way enterprising you have been actually promoting Bingle as an overall ecosystem is really commendable, and overall, like certainly it's a great ambition, and you're following a good strategy around that. So I'm really happy to know about it, and really like in any form or the ways where actually my knowledge and information can be helpful for this kind of ecosystem support and experience. Certainly, I'll be happy to contribute. Yeah.
Okay, great. So, Dr. Saurabh, I would just want to know about your background in more detail. So, I know a little bit about your profile, but what is that you are so passionate about at this point in time, and how you think that India's economy can grow in future in the next 30 years, till 2050, is what your thoughts are.
Okay, so certainly, like my background certainly is as being, as I already mentioned about a brief on the profile, especially on the research and development and innovative cycles of the organization. Certainly, I look forward beyond, in fact, concurrent business as usual kind of engagements, mostly towards kind of driving the visionary aspects of an organization where the industry is moving. So that's something which actually keeps me on all the areas, be it the new emerging areas you talk about, like metaverse, or like the way the robotics is moving more on the humanoids in many areas, and also the way actually right from the healthcare, drug discoveries, and you have seen like in the last 2-3 years the way during the COVID scenario, how quickly and fast the overall vaccine development, drug discovery has actually evolved. Normally a cycle of say 6 to 8 years has actually compressed to 6 months. So that's brilliant actually, and it's all because of like the way the overall how we can actually understand the overall molecular structure levels of genomics of the target system. So that's something which actually has evolved all these things, and that's not actually end of the road in the future. This all actually enablement has a lot of things to do with different industry applications. And when it talks come up about India, certainly I see a lot of things are really good at the moment, and there are a lot of groundwork which has been done, be it from the policy aspects of the government, be it the very supporting environment for new concept, new startups, new emerging areas to nurture, and also as an overall industry is also realizing the conventional way of doing business is going to change, be it from the any kind of service sector or any kind of industry. Like we talk about semiconductor as emerging industry today. So recently I heard about in fact, I was reading through the government has planned a free training modules for the engineers who would like to go into this industry. So that's something which is phenomenal. And similarly, like in other industrial aspects of also, be it in education, be it in terms of self-reliant on many other areas, supporting industries from energy sources, like being on more greener aspects of it. I was talking to one of the like good startup in India who is promoting green hydrogen, right from Pune. And they have a really good technology around this, and this been supported by right from the PMO office, and they are doing a really great projects, and they have big plans to how actually they can in fact develop, create an ecosystem and support overall green hydrogen kind of ecosystem. And that will actually change the overall dynamics of a country which is more reliant, currently more reliant on liquid, this petroleum, I would say hydrogen, this few fossil fuels. So that's something which is going to change a lot. So yeah, there are many things. So it's the right time to where you have actually the way you have also evolving and preparing a vision for 2030. Is the right time to go ahead on that? Yeah.
Wow, great. I think you have covered a lot of aspects, and I see that have an expertise in Web 2.0, and now this Web 3.0, which is coming in, especially with the terms like things like metaverse and blockchain, virtual reality. So, what is that you have to say about that? How is the current set of expertise which is really available, and what is happening on the ground?
Okay, so actually, there are a lot of things which are there. Certainly, when we talk about knowledge and experience and the people to support, so that comes a bit next. But before that, I would say, like industry is moving very fast today. Like 6 years, six. Normally, what happened in my time when I started my career in 1990s, 1991, 92, that's a time when actually the industry used to move very slowly. Like technology we could predict 10 years down the line what is going to happen. And the way the dot-com thing started, and it took shape in say 6 years, 7 years down the line, and we could actually ride that wave very like diligently, and we can train ourselves, and things actually were easy to do actually. But like today, scenario is totally different. You cannot actually, you don't have a window to spend say 4 year or 5 year in a conventional college or universities and to prepare yourself for the future technologies, which are going to transition, transform, and change the way it is being utilized in 6 months down the line. You cannot predict beyond that. So that's something which is actually is so evolving, so actually transitional and so unpredictable. Certainly, you really need a right kind of education system, which can support this kind of wave. Now talking about like web 2.0, 3.0, and then certainly for X.0, I would say now things are moving ahead on those directions. And especially like when we talk about metaverse and many other areas. Now, moving from like a kind of a web page and kind of a digital experience on creating a www kind of scenarios where you actually exchange the information, a very static kind of web interfaces. Now it's moving towards more collaborative, and we have already seen that stage is already mature today with all those collaborative platforms. But moving beyond, certainly, I would say the overall internet platform is iterated actually, and that is something which actually supporting more towards online 3D virtual kind of environment, I would say. And technically, like having a kind of augmented reality or virtual reality kind of scenarios where you have a true immersive experience is going to actually emerge. And possibility with this technology like is really great, like altogether. The end game, I would say, for Web 2.0 is also like is a kind of future
Yeah.
of I would say social network or the overall networks of the network, and seamlessly will move everything, all I would say services which we consume slowly and gradually to a different kind of world and experience alongside the real world with the immersive interaction between both the worlds. Which will drive our perception of the physical presence altogether. Or rather, I would say that there are new ways to emerge, and when I see in terms of who are the target consumers, and the way the roadmap is there for this Web 3.0 and 4.0 is more towards, like I would say, younger generation. So millennials, or even like the kids who are today at say 10th standards or 11th standards, or even like smaller ones, they are the potential consumers, and which is critical at the time when the like business models on the smartphone or the mobile internet net will be mature. This kind of, in fact, Web 3.0 and beyond will be an opportunity to add growth for existing industries alongside what we have started doing, like AR into virtual meetings. So that's something which is started here, but it's a very long way to go. And I think during this discussion today, we can try to discuss some of the use cases, how potentially this Web 3.0 can be leveraged and will be experienced with the real true industry use cases. Yeah.
Great. I think I would really love to know about those use cases. And I have a very one specific question before that. I was talking to a couple of investors who are investing in this world of metaverse, so they're interested to do that. There is a lot of ambiguity, or they're still feeling little afraid to invest in this world of metaverse or a blockchain. For them, it looks like a very something which is like maybe 20, 30, 40 years down the line. However, I know that knowing, discussing with you and many other experts, it's already there. And while Mark Zuckerberg, from Facebook, has started focusing on metaverse, but frankly, there are so many other virtual reality platforms, like Omniverse is there. Then we are building up a Bringleverse for education, employment, and entrepreneurship. There is a Metaversity coming in from Twitter senior officials. There is a Indian metaverse called Zionverse, and there are many more. Sandbox and Decentraland, and so on and so forth. But why, these investors, what they're thinking, especially what you mentioned about the children, the youth, they are going to use it. And I certainly feel that education is going to completely transform. There is a complete disruption which is going to happen over there. The physical colleges, schools, universities, they probably are going to be converted into a complete virtual phenomena, because now both parents and students, themselves have realized the power of online learning. And there are so many things which you can do in online learning with respect to personalized learning, as well as having a more gamified experience as well, which is actually more difficult in a physical environment, because you have to engage so many students, you have to align so many teachers and things like that. But when it comes to online, it can be leveraged with the technology. But still, what I'm getting a question is that people are feeling that this online education is happening only because of this COVID scenario. As soon as this COVID scenario is over, which is probably, we are thinking that the schools will get reopened and things like that. And by that time, this online education technology industry will actually wipe out. So what do you have to say on that?
Okay, very elaborative thing, but one thing which I would like to you focused on the right from investment to the way the education is transformed. Uh, I think there are three aspects of this thing. Like when it comes to, because certainly metaverse is a technology which has potential to drive the future. How we are going to consume the services in I would say in the world. So, I think you already last time I saw that news that it's already anticipated to be a kind of 8 trillion.
$8 trillion.
Yeah,
$8
like
trillion
kind of,
industry.
yeah.
Yes.
So certainly, like then that requires that kind of investor, in fact, footprint as well. So I'll talk to that about a bit later. But when it comes to in terms of which application is are going to use the metaverse most, certainly. Uh, let's talk about education itself. Like educational technologies are like essential tool for succeeding in making learning collaboration and interactive learning. And we have already like seen today like augmented virtual and the mixed reality has
Yes.
already enhanced the teaching instructions, simultaneously creating the immersive lessons and very engaging for the students today. Like even like I see my daughters like the last 1.5 year they are at home, and the senior sections as well. So
Go ahead. Go ahead.
sorry, yeah. So yeah, so they're at home, and then they are actually experiencing a lot of labs which are virtual. And recently they were into a lab which was actually having some kind of meta experience as well, which was I was amused to see that. And I've been interacting with many of the, in fact, universities, Harvard and others. I saw a lot of researches and a lot of, in fact, developments on that side as well. There was came across certain applications like Mersive, which can transport like history students to the ancient Greece, and
Oh,
yeah, and there was another app called Co-Spaces that can allow the art students to share their virtual creations to the world in a very AR kind of, in fact, scenario. So idea of combining like AR, VR, MR is highly anticipated. Like for example, we talk about like there's a platform called Magic Leap, is a VR platform provider, and they already anticipate that this the future will actually is more of a VR driven, and such platforms have really projected endless possibilities for technology transforming the classrooms itself. So there are a lot of possibilities. Like Microsoft AI platform, I saw certain videos where they actually created for surgery simulations for medical college students, and there was a actually education portal called Valant. Actually, they designed interactive labs for engineering students for circuits of electronics and communication. So many things are there. Oxford and Harvard University, I've already seen them experience that as well. They leverage virtual classrooms, and they extended the university networks for remote students. And they are doing it for almost 60 years. They have a closed network. They don't use the public network. So experience of all these platforms could be a guiding principle for successful strategy, actually, when it comes to education meta. So that's where it is. So future is really bright. Actually, there was second thing also. Like I would say, like in terms of, if I say like, are we already there or not? Certainly, we have already reached a point where we have all started experiencing VR thing. For example, like 2.5 years back, actually, one of my team members, they have did a POC on a VR application for disabled people, visually disabled people who are actually go inside the metro trains. So,
Right. Right.
so they can how they actually, in fact, sense where is the gate and all those things and path. And similarly for different kind of challenge people like hearing impaired or visually impaired or other. So many applications were tried, and we have proved very helpful for them as well. And so. Uh, yeah, so that's where it is. One thing which is I would like to say, like on terms of technology aspects of it, having a really true immersive experience, uh, like you need certainly need AR optics. That's one of the important thing. You need AR display, sensing, haptics, and many other supporting technologies like battery and optical materials and all those things. But at the same time, one of the most important thing is actually is VR camera and or VR vision this thing device. So
Device.
that's really important. And uh, I would say that we are testing many of these things today, and we found that in terms of really true meta experience, we are still like a lot of developments are required to be done. Uh, Second thing is like systems and network need to start talking together. Like that's one thing. And internet really needs to get faster. That's another important thing. And so that's where it is. And it's not different from the virtual world. I would say it's not like I would say it's just not the virtual world. Virtual reality headsets are absolutely critical here. For example, like Microsoft offers access to their metaverse through Gizmodo VR headsets. So that's really good one. And with the like 3D avatars. Uh, so metaverse software part that's already there, but the hardware part really need to overcome some of the hurdles. So that's where it is. And I can talk about it if you are interested. I can talk about it, some of the experience around that, who are what all are there in the industry. But that will be a bit more technical about it. But one thing which I would say, two, three important issues which are being actually addressed are by be it and by Meta, by Microsoft. That's the areas or issues which they are currently working on. One of the important thing is actually the goal has to be the light and comfortable device which you can wear all the day. So that's very important part of it. Like switching between AR and VR, as well as enabling natural interaction between yourself and other metaverse users is very important. And the technological journey towards the hardware needed to create this hypo theoretical device like which can present even more compelling development in complex challenges than the software part. So one of the important things actually is the screen, putting the screen right in the front of eyes actually. For example, when you put your like any kind of television or the phone just in front of the eyes, so we see a gap
Right.
between pixels actually. Normally, if you
Right.
see put anything in front of eyes, you see a gaps in the pixel.
Right.
So that's called technically we call it a screen door effect. So that screen
Okay.
door effect actually, and a rule of thumb for these kind of devices should be that 60 pixel per degree, what we call a PPD, of the field of the view is required for VR and AR to start looking like a really real good experience. Uh, so that means that we need a really good big demand on the resolution part. So that's where it is. And then on top of it, actually, optics really you require to focus the size and the focus and the size of these images very correctly for our vision. So that's also one of the important thing. And in in case of AR, these optics are very like today I would say is not so efficient, leading to today I would say brightness demand is in millions of nits actually. And for reference, like if iPhone 13 itself, iPhone 13 Pro Max screen is not more than 1200 nits, and you need millions of nits to
Oh,
actually have that kind of experience. So that's where it is, and a lot of things are
Wow.
moving ahead in industry, like micro LED displays and uh, which are there. Quantum dot color conversions are there, so things are moving. But I think we still need to work on this part to make it happen. Yeah.
I think wonderful information, Saurabh. I think it's really, really great to see such a kind of detailed information about this industry and technically sound. And I know that you have tried to make it very, very simple so that anybody can understand that. And really, one thing which I understood from your discussion is from your sharing is that the software market is still evolved, but hardware market is yet to be evolved. And I think the next, I would say, the change or the revolution or something which is required in the hardware ecosystem as well. So what is that? Because see, I one of the reasons which I have seen that people are not getting into hardware is because one is it is a high investment area. A lot of trial and error which is supposed to be done, and that creates a lot of investment requirement. Not everybody will be able to get to that level. But are you aware about some case studies? One from the, let's say, a metaverse point of view, like you were talking about that people are working, and one from the hardware point of view, which could give us, our users, our viewers, some kind of an experience or understanding or visualization that what's happening in this metaverse as well as this physical world. I mean, it's basically a combination of software and hardware at this point in time.
Okay, so yeah, so certainly, like if I say which is the best device today, so like let me tell about few of the devices which are very hyped one, like Microsoft HoloLens, which
Hmm?
the price is around $3,500. But this device is not considered for meta experience. Like there's another device called Warjo XR3 is a very great, like very good example, like of what possible in VR when money is not an issue, because this device itself is cost around 6,000 US dollars, and there is around 1,500 US dollars annual subscription on top of it. So it's not for average user, but it demonstrates where technology is moving and some experience of AR also. So that's where it is. But and there's another one which just released last week actually. It's called RoboCop or New Canon AR MR Real S1, which the cost is around $40,000. It's the highest range device today
Okay.
actually. Yeah. So and it starts with a blurred line between what is the real and what is not real. It's really kind of real. Still, I won't say it's not there, but I would say can give you, it's a class apart from other ones actually. So that's where it is. Now coming to actually uh, how we see, like does it limitation how we see it like altogether. So um, uh, there are a lot of, in fact, Apple has also known for investing in AR VR space for years, and last year also industry sources reported that that company called LG Innotek has begun supplying time of flight kind of cameras to, uh, uh, to 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 the firm for the VR headsets. Actually, that's one of the important thing. Time of flight is one of the important term which needs to be calculated. So and this year actually World has already bought, I would say, so very, I was checking about the volume, around 6 million AR VR headsets are already bought this year, just this year. So
Six
yeah, means
million.
like 2021 to 22, like this whole year to last 12 months.
Oh,
So this is a very encouraging point, because if I see the total ones, like official sale number, around 16 million units totally worldwide has already sold. Means like total 16 million in last, say, many years, and out of that only 6 million last year. That means it amounts to 60% growth just last year. So, so
yes.
that means like if the same growth continues 60% year on year, so we could see around 1 billion headsets in by 2030. And with companies like
Wow.
Meta today is already promising to deploy around 180 million investments. Sorry, not million, billion investment, $1 billion investment on
Yes,
developing the
yes, they are
technology.
working on.
Yeah, so there may be obvious impact on metaverse on the ecosystem. So certainly future is bright. Device is one of the hindrance, but the way in fact companies are investing on the research and development, certainly we are going to see some impact.
Very nice, very nice. I think considering the paucity, I mean the limitation of the time at this point in time, I just want to know if you would like to share one case study specific to some industry which you have seen personally or experienced, and probably you're working on it. That would be really great for our users, for our viewers, so that they could learn from this industry, from this discussion at this point in time.
Okay, actually, yeah. So in terms of case study, which we are working, certainly there are many case studies which we are actually anticipating. I think, be it from the having a retail metaverse, or even like last week the micro this thing, McDonald's have actually registered their meta
Right,
restaurants as well.
right.
So there
Backwards.
are a lot of things which are there, but uh, uh, I would say that in terms of like specific case studies, which can be industry case studies, especially I would say. Uh, uh, it's very relative one. Like I won't say you can take it as a separate ecosystem which is there. For example, I talk about Microsoft. Now, Microsoft is really putting a lot of, in fact, thrust on their suite of applications like Teams, Microsoft Teams, to enable the Meta. So that's one of the key things which are actually are there. Uh, and also there are other application suites like digital twins from the Microsoft. For example, like MS Team today is now projected for all business stuffs like document sharing, video chat, and like slowly grow deeper into metaverse concept. And Teams today can work across platform like MacBook, Gears, iPhone, etc. So that means like no lock with the piece of hardware. So that's a great freedom. Now, with creating digital twins, for example, I talk about manufacturing industries, one of the use case for us also, like we are into. So could be one of the important case. For example, like business owners want, you already know about digital twins, so no, I'll not explain on that, but business owners wants to know more today. Like metaverse concept can prove really remarkable, like useful for real-time factory data is syncing with the digital twins. Like companies can start analyzing the performance metrics and even build the automated systems like to and they can do a further in fact evaluation and increase efficiency. And where it gets interesting that for the metaverse concept, that when employees who are actually supporting that environment can go virtually and actually see the digital twin data while walking around the world, like physical world or virtual world. And that this is made possible with augmented reality by sure, like those kind of holograms, or Microsoft, if they can actually put up a right kind of devices in the world. So that's possible on top of it. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Saurabh. So I think one simple question which I will have on accessibility. You mentioned about the people with no vision. How the metaverse or these devices are supporting the AR VR devices. Now, in the virtual world, uh, when there is a complete virtual reality or the world which is coming in, how these people, could be deaf, mute, blind people, and maybe some with orthopedic kind of disability, they don't have legs or hands. How are they going to experience into this metaverse? And because I'll tell you why I'm asking this question. 75% of persons with disabilities are uneducated today. The reason is the physical world in itself is not accessible. They're not able to go there. The teachers or even the faculties, they don't understand how to connect with them. Apart from that, there are certain experts who are available who could be great teachers or mentors for the others, but they're not getting the right opportunities to do that. Now, in this virtual world, the way it is emerging, how it is going to help these people, especially from an accessibility and inclusion point of view?
Okay, let me give an alternate vision on this. Like, uh, like on one side of it, like you will see there are 4.6 billion internet users globally, and there are more than half of people on Earth who don't have as well.
Right.
Like, uh, and you'll see only a small percent of people who are fully immersed in the digital world. So, so which are driving today? I would say this wave is driven by those people. Now, at the same time, I would say these 3 or 4 billion people who don't use internet at all, and the plenty of people who like I heard about a lot of fluctuating news where people deactivate the Facebook accounts for many reasons, and
Right.
so those things, and there are a lot of, in fact, regulatory things also, like for example, privacy, data privacy, personal
Right.
privacy, identity threat, and all those things. Like last year itself, like Facebook has to pay more than 500 million for, in fact, violating privacy laws for
Oh,
Elias State. Yeah, 533 million Facebook users' data was leaked online. So India state law, actually, they want every company to get the permission for the users to store their biometric data, including data that is linked to face and individual identities, which Facebook actually could not do, and they have to pay that huge penalty to the state authorities. Now, the one thing which I would say, the alternate vision is that there are all these strings will be pulled by the state authorities within the political or geo boundaries. Like India may have a separate policy, or China already has a very beautiful policy. Recently, Europe, actually, if you have heard about the like Europe has actually pulled the string already on Facebook, and they are on the same grounds, like they want Facebook not to share the data across the borders for their people, and Facebook may actually pull out from Europe, and that's a huge, actually, because a more than 80% of Europe population is on Facebook. So that's one of the important thing. So we have to actually, and China, actually, you've seen like China is having a very conservative like metaverse policy. That would look totally different from the rest of the world due to government censorship. So there will be strict rules on technology sector. Beijing can crack down on it's already cracked down on the cryptocurrencies. So let's see what comes up next with them. So certainly we have to put up some kind of a narrow vision. So we have to serve both the worlds. So
got it.
yeah, hence what I'm seeing, how I'm seeing this metaverse is evolving today is the metaverse version of internet could focus on a bit of decentralized application built on the peer-to-peer blockchain, and emphasis on data privacy, secure digital identity, law of land, user compensation for sharing the personal data and original data content. So this concept is more like consumer-friendly version of internet, will be more attractive for industry, for end user applications, as well as investors also. So that's where it is. I think that will answer your question. So in nutshell, certainly 2022 beyond, I would say, is a time for us to building the brands with a metaverse state of mind. So that's one important thing. I read through Bhagavad Gita a lot, actually. So
Wow.
yeah, so my personal opinions is very much influenced from the Lord Krishna's advice, I would say. So
Okay. Great.
and
Great. I think I would ask some leading questions that definitely on that as well. Love to know.
so as Lord Krishna, actually, if you see at my back, I have Lord Krishna meditating at the top. So
Yes. Yes.
so, so Lord Krishna, actually, he has said in Bhagavad Gita, many chapters he mentioned about Maya. So in chapter 7, like specifically, so he mentioned that Maya, be it the physical world, or even the astral world, virtual world, or even metaverse, you can say, brand it. So
Mhm.
whatever you call, is also a faculty which is driven by Krishna consciousness, Krishna's energy, and it brings is brings all about illusion. And he explains in chapter 15 also, one of the verse which I remember, verse 7, which he calls Mamai Vansho Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manashashthani Prakritisthani Karshadi. So very good.
Oh,
This, this is really good verse. If you read through chapter 15, verse 7, like he mentioned about that, that's the purpose of our life is not to keep in the illusion, but to teach us the futility of illusion of living and separate from your true self. So one of once this futility actually evolves, things we need to repurpose ourselves for the eternal parts, and that's the goal of life. The illusion we face during I would say life journey serves as a positive educational purpose, and for survivals. It's like wrong answer to the multiple choice questions which normally people take. So we have to actually strike between the both of the words together. That's what actually I would like to conclude, that we have to make a right justifiable balance between both the words, and serve the industry as much as possible.
great. So I think I would want to shift the focus to a little lighter question. It may sound a little more tougher, but it is a more lighter question in my opinion. Okay, so as you know, Saurabh, that we are working on Vision 2020, 2030 to transform 1 billion lives, 1 million businesses, and 100 unicorns. Now, with this vision, it's a very gigantic mission. Even we are still figuring it out how we will eventually achieve this. But knowing your learnings or experience, like you have been reading Bhagavad Gita, you're following that, and you know a lot about it. Let's say if you have to achieve this mission, basis on, let's say, Lord Krishna's teachings or your experience with respect to technology, what do you think, we should do, or how you would want to kind of reach out so that we eventually be able to achieve this mission?
Okay, for all practical reasons, I would say, like if we believe in Krishna's consciousness, metaverse will stay as an option for industries to collaborate, but it will never dilute the importance of physical experience world in terms of human intelligence and the quest for the quantum perception evolution. So that's very important. Uh, I would say things are moving to a very crazy directions. You may know already. Uh, if you would like to try to guess that when metaverse will when virtual world will become more meaningful for the people as compared to physical world. Today, AI researchers, if you see, like I am booked into that a lot. Actually, I'm doing a lot on the deep tech kind of thing. So the concept of singularity, if you have heard of singularity, and it actually describes the moment when technology growth becomes uncontrollable, irreversible. Essentially, with the new emerging technologies like deep tech and especially infrastructure capabilities like quantum computing, once the AI systems gain the capabilities of to improve itself beyond human capability, now these improvements will start corresponding endlessly and create a really super intelligence that will actually suppress the all of the humanity. And we saw that movement actually, if you remember the Hollywood flicks, that the Matrix, but that movement is still a
Yes.
long way to go off. So,
Right, right, right. In fact, recently I was watching one of the another movie, forgetting the name, but in that same movie, this what they have done is this person was about to die, and he's been transformed into an artificial intelligence of a computer. So he's been actually his conscious has been transferred to a computer, and then how that artificial that brain has converted into a artificial intelligent brain and started connecting to stock markets, satellites, health systems, and actually started reconstructing the human organs and improving the age and everything over there. And the way the world has drastically changed within 2 years of that existence was miraculous. I mean, you can't even believe that it is possible. So I think what you're saying is that, and it is at some point in time it is going to happen where machines will basically take over the humanity, like what you're saying. And we don't know how it will evolve at this point in time. So we had to be a little careful. There was a news a couple of years back that Facebook had to shut down its system because their artificial intelligence started coding on a language that humans don't understand. So they had to literally shut it down so that otherwise it would have taken over the entire Facebook algorithm, out there, and we will not be able to manage it. So I think these things, will come eventually. And I liked your idea or thought that rather than focusing only on that virtual world, which could be a very small set of numbers at this point in time, the focus should be there on how we could serve the larger community, the larger ecosystem. And I mean, forget about the internet. Internet also, you're saying that it's only 50% of the people are there on internet globally. Now, people who are actually there on internet, they are also probably not utilizing it the way they should be at least using it. And metaverse is another dimension around it, which is still unexplored. So I definitely understand your thoughts on that and really appreciate. And first of all, I got a message that the ground reality, the focus on the ground or the offline world will continue to be there. While it is good to have technology and other aspects into it, but the objective should be more of reaching out to the larger community. And hardware could be another area where we need more interventions to even utilize the current set of things which are available.
You're right.
Right?
Right. You got the right.
Great. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Saurabh. I just wanted to make sure that our audience understand this very well because it's a very, very complex topic. And I know that as I keep talking to you, I'll get more excited and I can continue this discussion, forever. But let me because there is a time constraint at your side as well. Let me ask a couple of fun questions at a personal side here, okay? And before we kind of wind up this session. So the one thing is sort of everybody knows you as a chief technology officer or a PhD in technology, and you work a lot of things on technology. But what is your personal side of it? What is that one thing which drives you in this world beyond technology?
Okay, that's a very good question and really very, I would say, inward question altogether. And personally, I'm a seeker. I would say I have been always a seeker. The journey to the life. Uh, I love technology. The time when I started in industry, that was actually the time when technology was not just started. I would say that's digital. The term digital was not even started. Like technology
Right.
word also was not there, and we in the whole campus. I remember just what we had only one computer, and so
Oh,
point here is that certainly it really I evolved through it, and then and my perception, the way actually I see the overall I would say information and everything is very, I would say, uh, applicability part of it. So I really love to be more on the application side of it, and that's how actually I kept myself grounded to the real world, and so that's where it is. And personally, I'm a seeker. I would say I'm always a very you are already I already told about Krishna consciousness and other
right.
things. I've been initiated into many some of the yogic practices, so that's something which I follow, and that helps to me to be in straight in line always, and so that's where it is. Very I won't say religious, but I'm a bit more of a spiritual person. So if I say religious, I it becomes more of a following some specific doctrine, so which I hate a
Right.
lot actually. So,
Right.
so
No, I definitely appreciate that. And in fact, I think the way you have explained about Bhagavad Gita, I see that there are so many people right now who are trying to convert those learnings into even business, into academics, and various, even in the normal life as well. Uh, we were also thinking that how we could bring Bhagavad Gita learning in our, the Gurukul based university, which we are thinking of. So, in fact, we are currently working with a model of a physical university based out of Om or Swastik. I mean, that's an architectural design,
Mm.
rather than using the same Nalanda University and thing. But there are so many universities like government has actually reconstructed Nalanda University and started taking admissions over there. So we are thinking to create a very different thing wherein not only just Bhagavad Gita, but there are so many other things, Vedas and other things which are kind of being brought up over there. Ramayana is there, Mahabharata, which is your Bhagavad Gita basically is coming up. Then there are so many other mythologies, Hindu mythologies, which are there. So we are, kind of working on setting up a studio right now. So we are working with one of the company based out of Mumbai to set up this studio to create a games based out of these Vedas. So we have got the entire Vedas listed down with us or written down, those in the PDF format. So we are converting that into a motion gaming or a simple games initially, and then putting up into an OTT channel and then the metaverse eventually. So those are the things which we are trying to keep. And the idea of having a OTT channel is basically to reach out to the masses, which is our tier 2, tier 3 cities, which is 70% of the population. So we are going to focus more on that. And of course, there will be eventual aspects for the tier one cities as well. They can also utilize it. But the idea here is to bring that Indian mythology back into it. So I would love to know more thoughts about Bhagavad Gita, and maybe whenever we have time, we can have a separate conversation on that with the team. And maybe you could give some suggestions or thoughts around that how we could really build that, and would take it forward from there. So, okay, one more question before we conclude. Uh, so, Saurabh, consider that you have got an option to meet three wonderful people in this world, dead or alive. Okay, who would those people be and why?
Okay, three people is a big list ticket item. So I think uh,
Okay,
so. Being a seeker, I would certainly my ultimate goal, if I can experience God consciousness, so that's something which is really important. But at the same time, in the real world, we say that I really love to interact with people. So I every day, if I can meet one single person, a person who is really, I would say, true to heart and very good, I would say, a good soulful person, that really actually transmits a lot of energy. In fact, you learn a lot from, and that kind of, like, I would say, that kind of vibration really motivates you to keep on journey in this I would say, a journey called life. So life itself is, I would say, is a very important thing. And every day, every moment, I think it's very important to cherish. And for example, it's 2:30 right now, and if I see I'm alive, I'm happy. So it's more than happy moment for me. I don't have to think of anything else and beyond. I don't have to see. This is in itself is a very important thing. So I think that's single most goal is to stay happy, to stay joyful, to contribute, to meet people, to as a global citizen, being more responsive, more useful, and so that you feel more compassionate and more, I would say, in fact, cherished as a overall life. Yeah.
wow. So I think, Saurabh, I don't think I have received such a wonderful reply from anybody till now. Because everybody aims for, even including me, I also would have probably uh, thought of sharing some names which have done really wonderful things in life, and I would want to, have an interact with them. But the message which you have given is that every person can be unique, and it is not about the individuals who have already made success or they are already the big names. Sometimes a common man, a person who is just walking on the street and you talk to him or her, can be a real value add for anybody for that matter. I mean, situations may change for anybody, but if you get inspired from somebody and eventually it gets transformed into a particular benefited aspect for the humanity. I think that is where the real message. And I'm sure that's coming up from your internal, your pure heart, and because of the followings which you are learning, the teachings you are learning by following Lord Krishna. So thank you so much, Saurabh. It was lovely interacting with you. I would love to have more discussions, on this technology world, what we can do, and what is happening in the future. And of course, I would want to set up a separate call, especially on uh, Lord Krishna's learnings or teachings. Would love to discuss on that, how we could take that forward. But for now, thank you so much for joining us at Bringle Talks, and we'll soon see you very, very soon. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much. Thank you. Yeah. So it's nice talking to you. Yeah. Yeah. All the best
Same
to
here.
you. Yeah. And bring it back. Yeah.
Jai Hind. Keep bringing, keep growing.
Yeah.